The Galactic Council Chamber was a cathedral of steel and light. Thousands of alien eyes watched from tiered seats, their colors shifting, their mouths whispering in strange tongues. Above them, the great glass dome revealed the cold stars silent. Witnesses to the trial of humanity. At the center, the Speaker of the Council, a tall figure with silver skin and eyes like molten gold, raised a long hand for silence. The hall fell quiet. A thin alien in dark robes stepped forward, his voice cold. The human ambassador, Jonathan Hall, is dead. Killed not by accident, but by deliberate act, murder. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Somewhere in the shadows, a tentacled being hissed. A cluster of avian aliens flapped their wings in agitation. From the human section of the hall, whispers broke out. Admiral Reese, tall and broad-shouldered, clenched his jaw. Beside him, Intelligence Officer Maya Vos leaned close and whispered, "They're not here for justice. They've already made up their minds." Reese's eyes stayed fixed on the speaker. "Then we're in trouble," the speaker's voice echoed. "Under council law, if a member race assassinates a council representative, it is an act of war. The penalty is extermination." The word hung in the air like poison, a reptilian. Delegate stood. His voice was sharp and cruel. "The evidence is clear. Halle was poisoned on a human vessel. Only humans had access. The sentence is obvious. We must vote for the removal of the human race before they spread their violence further." Maya's hands balled into fists. Removal was their clean word for annihilation. No survivors, no mercy. The speaker's tone was final. "The vote will take place in 72 hours. The chamber erupted, some shouting for blood, others calling for investigation. But Maya saw the truth in the faces around her. This wasn't just about the murder. Humanity had enemies here, powerful ones, and this was the excuse they'd been waiting for. As the council session ended, Reese and Maya slipped out a side corridor, their boots echoing on the polished floor. "We need to get to the ambassador's quarters," Reese said in a low voice. Maya nodded. "If there's proof he was framed, it'll be there." They moved quickly through the alien capital, its towers of crystal and light casting long shadows in the cold evening air. Flying machines hummed above, their reflections gliding across the glass streets. When they reached the embassy tower, it was already sealed. 2 alien guards stood at the entrance, weapons crossed. Their insect-like eyes watched every move. "You are forbidden entry." One guard clicked in accented English. Reese forced a smile. "We just want to collect the ambassador's personal effects, diplomatic property." "Orders say no human enters," the guard replied. "Investigation is in progress." Maya leaned close to Reese. "They're not investigating, they're covering up." Reese didn't argue. He simply turned away, his voice a whisper. "Then we go in another way." They circled to the back of the building, finding a narrow service hatch. Maya produced a small tool from her jacket, an alien lockpick she'd borrowed years ago. In seconds, the hatch clicked open. Inside, the corridors were dark and silent. The faint scent of ozone hung in the air. Every step felt heavier. When they reached the ambassador's quarters, the scene was disturbingly neat. The bed made, papers stacked, a glass of water on the desk, untouched. Maya's eyes scanned the room. "It's too clean. Whoever killed him wiped everything." Reese was about to answer when a faint sound came from the corner. A red light blinked under the desk. Maya crouched and pulled out a small recorder. She pressed the play button. Jonathan Hale's voice filled the room. "Calm but urgent. If you're hearing this, I'm probably dead. I've uncovered evidence that certain council members are trading illegal bioweapons with a banned species. They will kill to keep this secret. Trust no one. The proof is hidden where they'll never look inside the..." The message cut off abruptly. Maya's eyes were wide. "Inside the what?" Reese didn't answer. A shadow fell across the doorway. "Drop the recorder," a deep voice ordered. They turned to see 3 alien enforcers, tall and armored, their weapons glowing. "By order of the Council, you are under arrest for tampering with evidence in an ongoing case," the lead enforcer said. Maya glanced at Reese. "If they take us in, the vote will happen, and Earth is finished." Reese's expression hardened. "Then we're not going in." He grabbed the recorder, slammed the desk into the enforcers, and pulled Maya toward the window. The glass shattered under their combined weight, and they fell 3 stories onto a narrow balcony below. Blaster fire followed them as they ran. They ducked into the maze of the lower city, where neon signs flickered and steam rose from vents. The alien crowd swallowed them, their strange faces turning briefly to watch before losing interest. "We have the recording," Maya panted, "but it's useless without the rest of the message." Reese checked the recorder. "This tech is human-made. If we can get it to our ship, our engineers might recover the rest." Maya's brow furrowed. "If we make it to the ship." Somewhere above, a distant siren wailed. The hunt had begun. Hours later, in the dim hangar of the Resolute, their chief engineer, a wiry man named Harris, worked on the recorder with trembling hands. "There's heavy damage," Harris muttered, "but I can get a partial restore. Give me a minute." Maya paced, every tick of the clock hammering in her chest. "We have less than 3 days." A soft beep broke the silence. Harris grinned weakly. "Got it." The rest of Hale's message played. "Inside the central spire, beneath the Council archives, there's a hidden chamber. That's where the weapon plans are stored. Find them, and you'll find my killer." Maya exhaled. "That's it. If we get those plans, we can prove the Council's lying." Reese turned to the crew. "Then we go in tomorrow. Quiet, fast. And if anyone gets in our way, they won't." Maya finished, but in the shadows of the hangar, unseen by any of them, a small drone hovered. Its lens blinked once before vanishing into the ducks far. Away, in a chamber lit by cold blue light, the reptilian delegate watched the feed. His lips curled into something like a smile. "Let them come," he hissed. "They will never leave the capital alive." On Earth, the news spread faster than fire. Screens in every city flashed the same headline: "Ambassador murdered Earth accused vote in 72 hours. Crowds gathered in silence. Some cried. Some shouted in anger. Others just stood, staring at the words, not believing them. In the military command center deep beneath Washington, the air was thick with tension. Generals, scientists, and intelligence officers filled the room, their faces pale. At the head of the table sat President Elena Ward. Her voice was calm but heavy. "You've all seen the reports. In 3 days, the Council will decide our future. If we don't act, there will be no Earth left to protect." A general spoke, his voice low. "Madam President, the Council won't listen to reason. They've already judged us guilty." Another officer leaned forward. "Then we must prove we're innocent." The ambassador's death wasn't random. Someone wanted this war. The room fell quiet. Every person knew what he meant. Humanity had always been seen as the newcomers, the outsiders, the unpredictable race. The aliens feared them. Now fear had turned into an excuse for destruction. President Ward's eyes scanned the table. "We cannot fight the entire galaxy. Not yet. Our only chance is to expose the truth. We need proof evidence that shows who really killed Ambassador Hale." "But who will do it?" asked a scientist. "Who can survive in the capital, under the Council's eyes?" The answer came from the shadows at the edge of the room. Admiral Reese and Maya Vose stepped forward, still in their black travel uniforms, dust clinging to their boots from the alien capital. "We can," Reese said. Maya placed the damaged recorder on the table. "The ambassador left a message before. He died. He said the real evidence is hidden beneath the Council archives, in the central spire. That's where we need to go." The generals exchanged uneasy looks. One of them muttered, "The central spire is the most secure place in the galaxy. You can't just walk in." Reese's tone was iron. "We don't plan to walk. We plan to infiltrate." President Ward studied them for a long moment. Her voice was quiet but steady. "You understand the risk. If you fail, Earth burns. If you succeed, you may still never return." Maya didn't flinch. "If we do nothing, Earth dies anyway." The president nodded slowly. "Then we'll give you what help we can. But the team must be small. Too many, and you'll be noticed. Choose carefully." That night, inside the Resolute, the strike team assembled. There was Harris, the wiry engineer with quick hands and quicker jokes. Corporal Juno, a soldier with eyes like steel and a past full of scars. Dr. Celine, a scientist whose knowledge of alien languages was unmatched. And of course, Admiral Reese and Maya, leading the mission. The crew stood in the dim hangar, the hum of the ship surrounding them. Reese spoke first. "This mission is simple. We find the hidden chamber. We recover the evidence. We prove Earth's innocence. Nothing else matters." Juno raised an eyebrow. "And if the council guards catch us?" Maya's voice was sharp. "Then we fight or we run. But we don't stop." Harris smirked. "Easy for you to say. I'm the one who has to. Break into alien systems while being shot at." Dr. Salini gave a faint smile. "Then you'd better not get shot." The tension broke for a moment with a ripple of quiet laughter, but beneath the humor was fear, sharp and real. Every one of them knew the truth. They might never see Earth again. The next morning, the ship lifted off from Earth's hidden launch site, engines roaring as it cut through the atmosphere. Families watched from rooftops, knowing the crew carried the fate of their world. Inside, the mood was grim. Reese stood on the command deck, staring out at the stars. "Course set for the capital," Harris reported. Maya leaned against the console. "We'll be watched the whole way. The council doesn't trust us." Reese's reply was cold. "Then we make them regret underestimating us." For hours, the ship cut through the void, the stars stretching into lines as they jumped to faster than light. The silence was broken only by the steady hum of the engines. But then, alarms screamed. Unidentified vessels closing in. Juno shouted from the weapons station. On the screen, dark shapes appeared. 3 alien ships, sleek and predatory. Their weapons glowing. "They're not broadcasting council codes," Maya said quickly. "Pirates?" Reese shook his head. "No. Assassins." The enemy ships opened fire. Blue energy blasts lit the darkness, slamming into the Resolute's shields. The hull groaned under the impact, shields at 70%. Harris yelled, "Return fire." Reese barked. Juno's hands flew across the controls. Cannons roared, red bolts cutting through space. One enemy ship exploded in a burst of flame. The other 2 closed in, circling like wolves. Maya's eyes narrowed. "They're not trying to destroy us. They're trying to disable us. They want us alive," Reese grimaced. "Then they know what we're after." The ship shook violently as another blast struck. Panels sparked, filling the air with smoke. "We can't take much more of this," Harris shouted. Reese made a quick decision. "Maya, Juno, target their engines." "Harris, reroute all power to weapons. We end this now." The deck shook as the human ship fought back with fury. Red fire tore across the black, striking one assassin ship square in its core. It exploded, debris scattering into the void. The last ship tried to flee. Not this time. Reese growled. Juno's final shot crippled the fleeing ship, sending it spinning into darkness. The silence after the battle was deafening. Smoke filled the bridge, alarms still blinking red. Maya looked at the wreckage on the screen. They were waiting for us. Someone inside the council knows we're coming. Reese's jaw tightened. Then we keep going, no matter what. Later, as Harris repaired the systems, the crew gathered in the mess hall. The room was dim, the air heavy with tension. Dr. Selene broke the silence. If they wanted us alive, maybe they plan to use us. Maybe they want us to lead them straight to the evidence. Maya frowned. Then they'll kill us once we find it. Juno leaned forward. So what do we do? Reese's voice was firm. We do what humans always do. We adapt. We survive. We fight back. For a moment, no one spoke. Then slowly, one by one, the crew nodded. Maya's eyes were fierce. Then let's show them humanity won't go quietly. Far away, on the capital world, the reptilian delegate watched another recording feed. His slit-pupiled eyes gleamed. As he saw the human ship survive the ambush, so they live, he hissed softly. Good, let them come. The trap is not yet finished. He leaned back, claws tapping the arm of his chair. When they reach the central spire, he whispered, they will find only death. The journey to the capital was long and dangerous. After the ambush, the Resolute moved under silent protocols, avoiding patrols and scanning for hidden threats. The ship was damaged, its shields weaker, but the crew pressed on. Every second brought them closer to the alien heart of power and closer to the trap waiting for them. Inside the command deck, Admiral Reese stood with his hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the endless stretch of stars. His jaw was tight, his mind racing. He knew the enemy wouldn't stop with one ambush. Maya stepped onto the deck, her voice low. You haven't slept since the attack. Reese didn't turn. Sleep is a luxury we don't have. You're not a machine, she said softly. Finally looked at her, his face drawn but steady. Machines break, humans endure. Before she could reply, Harris's voice came through the comms. Admiral, I've detected something strange. You should see this. Reese and Maya hurried to the engineering bay, where Harris had pulled up a holographic display. Here, Harris said, pointing to a cluster of blinking signals. These are distress beacons, but they're too regular, too clean. Almost like someone planted them, Maya frowned. A trap? Or bait, Harris said. But someone wants us to investigate. Reese studied the display. The signals were coming from a debris field ahead, a graveyard of broken ships floating in the void. Juno entered, armed and ready. We're not seriously going into that mess, are we? Dr. Selene followed, her eyes thoughtful. If someone hid evidence there, it would be the perfect place. Abandoned, dangerous, and forgotten. Reese took a long breath. We'll check it, but stay sharp. If this is a trap, we fight our way out. The debris field was a haunting sight. Wrecked. Ships, human and alien alike, drifted in silence. Some were burned husks, others split open like broken bones. Faint lights flickered from shattered hulls, like ghosts refusing to die. The Resolute moved carefully through the wreckage, engines low, sensors scanning every shadow. On the bridge, the tension was thick. Juno's hand hovered near the weapons. Console, ready to fire at the first sign of danger. Harris's fingers tapped nervously on the controls. There, Maya said suddenly. A signal inside that wreck. The wreck was massive. A human colony ship from years ago, torn apart in some forgotten battle. Its hull was cracked open, revealing dark corridors inside. Reese made his decision. Maya, Juno, Harris, you're with me. Selene, stay here and keep the ship hidden. If we don't return in 2 hours, get back to Earth. Selene's eyes were wide. You can't just. We don't have time to argue, Reese cut in. 2 hours, no more. The shuttle descended into the wrecks. Hollow belly. Inside, the air was cold and stale, the silence oppressive. Their lights cut through the darkness, revealing broken walls, floating debris, and the faint markings of human life long gone. This place gives me the creeps, Harris muttered. Like the dead are watching us. Stay focused, Reese said. They followed the signal deeper into the wreck, their boots clanging softly on the metal floors. Finally, they reached a sealed chamber, its door half-broken. Juno, forced it open with a grunt, revealing a room filled with shattered consoles and scorched walls. In the center was a small black box, its light blinking faintly, the source of the signal. Maya stepped forward, cautious. It's a data core. Human tech, old, but still alive. She lifted it carefully, her eyes narrowing. But why would someone leave it here? Before anyone could answer, a low hum filled the air. The walls lit up with red lines. Harris's voice cracked. Motion sensors, we tripped them. Metal shutters slammed down across the exits. A recorded alien voice echoed through the chamber. Intruders detected. Eliminate. A hiss filled the room. Gas began to leak from the vents. Poison. Maya coughed, pulling a mask over her face. Move. Reese ordered. He drew his weapon and blasted at the shutter, sparks flying. Juno joined him, their combined fire tearing through the metal. Harris slammed the data core into his pack. We've got what we came for, let's get out. The shutter finally gave way, and they rushed into the corridor. But the wreck was no longer silent. Figures emerged from the shadows drones, sleek and alien, their eyes glowing red. Ambush! Juno growled. The drones opened fire, bolts of blue energy scorching the walls. The humans ducked for cover, firing back with precision. One drone exploded, then another, but more kept coming. The corridor lit up with deadly flashes. We're pinned! Harris shouted. Reese's voice was calm, even in the chaos. Maya, flank left, Juno with me. Harris, protect that core. They moved like a machine, covering each other, striking fast. Maya slipped around the side, her shots precise, cutting down drones one by one. Juno fought like a storm, her rifle blazing. Reese charged forward, his sidearm blasting point blank into a drone's chest, shattering it in sparks. Finally, the last drone fell, smoking on the floor. Everyone still breathing? Reese asked. Barely, Harris muttered, clutching the core. But before relief could settle, a voice spoke from the shadows. Well done, humans. The crew spun, weapons raised. From the darkness stepped a tall alien, his skin pale silver, his eyes glowing with cold light. He wore no armor, but his presence was heavier than any weapon. You fought bravely, the alien said smoothly. But bravery won't save you. Maya's finger tightened on the trigger. Who are you? The alien's smile was thin. A messenger. The council has no place for your kind. You should have stayed on your little world. Reese's eyes narrowed. So you admit it. You killed Halle. The alien tilted his head. The ambassador uncovered secrets that would have destroyed balance. His death was necessary. And yours will be too. With a flick of his hand more. Drones appeared, dozens this time. Surrounding them in a circle of glowing red eyes. Harris whispered, We're not getting out of this one. Reese's voice was low but steady. Yes, we are. He tapped his cum. Selene, now. A thunderous explosion ripped through the wreck as the Resolute fired a blast from orbit, tearing open the hull. Air rushed out, dragging drones into the void. The crew clung to the metal as chaos erupted around them. The silver-skinned alien stood calmly, unaffected, his form shimmering. And then he vanished. Maya gasped. A projection. He wasn't even here. Reese pulled them toward the shuttle. No time. Move. Back aboard the Resolute, Selene met them with relief and fear. I saw the drones. I saw the blast. What happened? Reese dropped the damaged data core on the table. We found something. Someone wanted us to find it. Maya's eyes burned with frustration. He wanted to scare us, to show us he controls the game. Harris ran a hand through his hair, and it worked. If he can appear anywhere, if he's inside the council, how do we fight that? For a moment, silence filled the room. The crew was tired, bruised, and shaken. But Reese stood tall, his voice iron. We fight the way humans always fight. Step by step, against every odd, until we win. He placed a hand on the core. This may be bait, but it's also a clue. We follow it, no matter where it leads. Outside the ship, the stars burned cold and silent. But deep within the capital, in a hidden chamber beneath the council spire, the silver-skinned alien smiled. "They think they are hunters," he whispered, "but they are prey." The capital world was a jewel of light and stone. Towers of crystal reached into the sky, glowing with shifting colors. Sky lanes buzzed with ships moving in perfect order, and banners of the Galactic Council hung from every spire. But beneath, the beauty, tension pulsed like a storm waiting to break. The Resolute drifted in slowly under false codes, blending in with the endless stream of ships. On the bridge, Admiral Reese stood rigid, eyes locked on the glowing planet below. Maya leaned beside him. "We're in, for now." Harris, bent over the console, muttered nervously, "These codes won't hold forever. If the council scans too deep, they'll know we're frauds." "Then we move fast," Reese replied. Dr. Celine looked out at the towers shimmering in the distance. "That spire. The Central Archives. That's where the ambassador said the proof was hidden." The crew was silent. They all felt it. The spire was both target and trap. The shuttle touched down on a crowded landing platform near the lower levels of the city. Alien citizens bustled past, their faces cold, their eyes suspicious. Few looked at the humans, but those who didn't hide their fear. Juno adjusted her weapon under her coat. "They know we don't belong here," Maya whispered back. "Let them look, but don't let them follow." They moved as a unit through the neon-lit streets. Strange smells of alien food drifted through the air. Holoscreens flashed counsel. Propaganda. Humans guilty. Justice in 48 hours. Everywhere, whispers followed them. Humanity was already condemned in the minds of many. Reese stopped at a side alley and gestured them inside. "Masks up." Once we're inside the spire, no more. Blending in. "They'll know who we are." Harris exhaled shakily. "Great, so we're basically walking straight into hell." Maya gave him a thin smile. "That's where humans do their best work." The entrance to the central spire was guarded by towering alien sentinels in silver armor. Their weapons glowed faintly as they scanned the endless stream of officials and citizens moving through the gates. Selene whispered, "There's no way we just walk in." Reese nodded toward a service tunnel beneath the structure. "We don't." "Harris, you're up." They slipped into the shadows, following the narrow tunnel until they reached a sealed hatch. Harris crouched, pulling out a small toolkit. "You know," he muttered, working quickly. "Breaking into the most secure building in the galaxy wasn't really in my job description." "You'll live," Juno said flatly. The hatch hissed. Open. Cold air rushed out. "Or maybe not," Harris added. Inside the spire, silence pressed around them. The walls glowed faintly with alien energy, and faint vibrations hummed beneath their boots. It felt alive, as if the building itself was watching. Maya checked her scanner. The ambassador's signal said beneath the archives. "Sub-level 3, Reese nodded. "Stay sharp. If they catch us down here, we won't make it to trial." They moved down long corridors, avoiding patrols and security drones. Twice they had to freeze in the shadows as guards passed, their footsteps echoing. Every second stretched into eternity. Finally, they reached a large chamber. In the center stood a massive console, alien symbols glowing across its surface. "That's it," Maya whispered. "The entry to the sub-level." Harris hurried forward, hooking his tools into the console. Symbols flickered, shifting under his touch. Sweat beaded his forehead. Come on," he muttered. The console beeped. The floor shuddered, and a hidden door slid open. A stairway descended into darkness. Juno raised her rifle. "After you." The stairs led to a chamber unlike anything they'd seen. The walls were lined with glass containers, each holding strange weapons, organic, Mechanical, some alive, twitching faintly as if dreaming. The air was cold, sharp with chemical bite. Seleni's face went pale. Bioweapons. Just like Halle. Warned. Rhys moved to the nearest console, scanning the symbols. This is the evidence we need. Maya pulled out a recorder. We have to copy everything. Schematics, trade records, names. As Harris linked the devices, the chamber lights suddenly dimmed. A voice echoed through the darkness, so predictable. The crew froze. From the far end of the chamber, the silver-skinned alien stepped forward, the same figure who had appeared in the wreck. His eyes glowed, his voice calm and cold. You followed the trail, just as I wanted. Like insects chasing. Crumbs. Maya raised her weapon. You killed the ambassador. You framed Earth. The alien's thin smile spread. And it worked beautifully. Soon, the council will vote. Humanity will be erased. Your kind will never rise. Rhys's voice was steel. Not today. The alien's hand flicked. Hidden panels slid open, releasing a swarm of drones. Red. Eyes lit up the darkness. Kill them, the alien commanded. Chaos exploded. Blasts lit the chamber as the humans dove for cover. Juno unleashed a storm of fire, drones shattering in sparks. Harris clutched the recorder close, copying as much data as he could. Maya shouted over the noise. We can't fight them all. Rhys's voice cut through. We don't need to, just hold long enough. He slammed his cum. Selene now. Above the spire, the Resolute roared to life. Hidden cannons extended, and with a flash of light, the ship fired a precise blast into the lower levels. The chamber shook violently, drones toppling as dust rained from the ceiling. The silver-skinned alien's form shimmered and vanished again. A projection, Maya spat. He's not even here. Then we take what we can and run, Rhys growled. Harris pulled the recorder free. Got it. Proof of the weapons trade. Names, everything. Move, Rhys shouted. The crew fought their way up the stairs, blasting drones that tried to cut them off. The spire shuddered with alarms. Red lights flaring along the walls. Sirens wailed across the city. They burst into the open air, sprinting toward the shuttle as council guards swarmed the platforms. Go, go, go. Juno yelled, firing to cover the team. The shuttle lifted just as guards closed in. Blaster fire rained against the hull, but the engines roared, carrying them up into the sky. On the bridge of the Resolute, Selene's voice trembled. You made it. Barely, Maya replied. Collapsing into her seat, Harris slammed the recorder onto the console. But we got the proof. Now the galaxy will know the truth. Rhys looked out at the burning city below, alarms echoing across the capital. His voice was grim. No, now the galaxy knows we're enemies of the council. Far below, in the hidden chamber they had just fled, the silver-skinned alien stepped from the shadows. This time he was real. His hand touched the shattered console, his expression unreadable. They think they've won, he whispered. But they only hold one piece of the puzzle. His eyes glowed brighter. Let them run. I want them to believe they have a chance. It makes the hunt sweeter. The Resolute drifted in the shadows of a dying star. Its lights dimmed, its crew silent. The stolen recorder sat on the console, filled with evidence that could save Earth or doom it if handled wrong. The weight of it pressed down on everyone. Maya paced the bridge. We have the proof. So why does it feel like we're losing? Harris rubbed his face. Because the whole galaxy already thinks we're guilty. Evidence won't matter if no one listens. Dr. Selene's eyes were fixed on the stars. Then we need someone who will listen. Someone powerful enough to challenge the council. Rhys stood like a stone at the center of the room. There's only one, the Senate Speaker. If he believes us, others might follow. Juno leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. Or he'll turn us in for a bigger reward. Rhys's jaw tightened. That's a risk we take. The decision was made. The crew set a course for Vela Prime, the neutral world where the speaker often hid from the storms of politics. Vela Prime was a planet of shadows and whispers. Towers leaned close together, blocking the sun, while narrow streets twisted like mazes. Here, information was currency, and trust was extinct. The crew moved quietly through the streets, faces hidden under dark cloaks. Their eyes scanned every corner, every shadow. Maya whispered, "This place feels wrong." Harris adjusted the recorder under his cloak. "Everything about this feels wrong." They reached a tall building draped in black banners. Inside, alien. Guards searched them with cold precision before letting them through. The chamber beyond was dim, lit only by a circle of floating lamps. The Senate speaker waited at the center. His skin shimmered like glass, his face unreadable. His voice, when it came, was smooth and careful. "You risk much by coming here. The council has placed a price on your heads." Reese stepped forward. "We came because you're the only one who might care about the truth. Humanity is innocent. We have proof." He placed the recorder on the table. Symbols glowed, showing records of weapons traded, deals made, and hidden experiments. The speaker's eyes narrowed as he watched. "This," he whispered, "changes everything." Maya leaned forward. "You can clear our name. You can stop a war." For a long time the speaker was silent. Then he gave a soft laugh. "You misunderstand. This does not stop war. This is war. Proof of corruption at this level. Will tear the council apart. Worlds will turn on each other. Alliances will collapse." Seleni's voice shook. "So you'll do nothing?" The speaker studied them. "On the contrary, I will use this. But understand your survival depends on whether I find it useful." Juno's hand twitched near her weapon. "So we're just pawns." The speaker's glassy eyes flicked toward her. "Everyone is a pawn, human. Some just last longer than others." They left the chamber heavy with unease. On the streets outside, the shadows seemed darker. Harris muttered, "I don't trust him. He'll sell us out the second it suits him." Maya frowned. "Then we stay ahead of him. Always move before they expect it." But even as she said it, figures appeared from the alleys, blocking their path. Dozens of masked agents, weapons drawn. Reese's voice was calm but hard. "Ambush." The first shots lit the night. The humans scattered, cloaks falling away as weapons blazed. Juno dropped 2 agents before ducking behind a pillar. Maya pulled Harris into cover, shielding the recorder. Selene shouted, "They want the data. Don't let them take it." The fight raged in the narrow streets. Sparks flew, stone shattered. Reese moved like a blade, cutting through attackers with brutal precision. But for every agent that fell, more appeared. They were being herded, pushed deeper into the maze. "This isn't random," Maya gasped. "They knew where we'd be." Harris's eyes went wide. "The speaker set us up." Reese's voice was grim. "Then we finish this on our own." They burst into an abandoned warehouse, slamming the doors behind them. Outside, footsteps closed in. Breathing hard, Harris held up the recorder. "If they get this, Earth is finished." Maya grabbed his hand. "Then we make sure they don't." Seleni's eyes flicked to the ceiling. "We can't hold them off forever, but maybe we don't have to." Reese followed her gaze. "The city's come towers." Selene nodded. "If we broadcast the data openly, the whole galaxy will see it, not just the council." "Everyone." Harris hesitated. "That's insane. Every smuggler, every pirate, every enemy we've ever had will see it too." Reese's voice was like steel. "Better the truth in every hand than buried in silence." The doors shook as agents hammered against them. Maya grabbed her rifle. "Then we fight our way to that tower." The battle through Vela's streets was chaos. Explosions lit the night as the crew forced their way toward the towering spire at the city's heart. Citizens scattered in terror. Alarms wailed. Juno shouted over the noise. "They'll have this spire locked down." Reese fired back at pursuing agents. "Then we unlock it." They reached the base of the tower, breath ragged, bodies bruised. Guards were already swarming it. Maya's eyes blazed. "No more hiding. We end this now." The humans charged. The fight was brutal, desperate. Every corner of the tower burned with energy blasts. Juno fought like a storm. Harris clung to the recorder as if it were his life. Selene patched wounds in the middle of the chaos, her hands steady even as the world shook. Finally, they forced their way into the control chamber. Consoles lined the walls, glowing with alien script. Harris threw himself at the controls. "Give me 30 seconds." The doors behind them trembled as agents tried to break through. Maya fired into the doorway. "You have 15. Sweat poured down Harris's face as his fingers flew. Almost there. The doors blew inward. Masked agents stormed in. "Now, Harris." Reese roared. With a final strike, Harris slammed his hand on the console. The recorder's glow spread across the screens. Data exploded into every frequency, carried on every signal, flooding across the galaxy. The agents froze. Too late. The truth was already free. Silence filled the chamber as the last of the attackers fell. The humans stood, bloodied and breathless, surrounded by shattered glass and burning walls. Selene whispered, "It's done. The whole galaxy knows." Maya looked out the window. Lights flickered across the city as messages spread like fire. Whispers of corruption, proof of hidden weapons, the betrayal of the council. Everything was spilling into the open, but Reese's face was grim. "This doesn't save us. This only makes the war bigger." Juno wiped blood from her cheek. "Then, we'd better be ready." Far away, in the heart of the council chamber, chaos erupted as the broadcast reached every world. Leaders shouted, alliances cracked, and for the first time in centuries, the great empire trembled. In the shadows, the silver-skinned alien watched, his glowing eyes calm. "They did exactly what I wanted," he whispered. "The galaxy burns. And when the flames die, only I will remain." The galaxy was no longer quiet. The broadcast had shattered the calm, sending ripples of anger, fear, and rebellion across countless worlds. Armies began to gather. Old treaties burned. Ships moved like predators through the dark. And in the middle of it all, the crew of the Resolute ran for survival. The ship drifted on the edge of an asteroid belt, lights dimmed, hiding from patrols. Inside, the crew argued in sharp whispers. Maya slammed her hand against the table. "We did the right thing. Everyone knows the truth now." Harris shook his head, his face pale. "Truth doesn't matter if we're dead. Do you hear the comes? Every faction is hunting us. Some want to thank us. Others want to kill us. We're targets no matter where we go." Selene spoke softly but firmly. "We lit the fire. Now the whole galaxy is burning." Reese stood at the center, arms crossed, voice steady. "Then we decide what kind of fire it becomes, chaos or freedom." Juno leaned back, cleaning her weapon. "Freedom? You really think the galaxy cares about freedom? They want power, and we just gave them the perfect excuse to grab it." The words hung in the air. Maya looked at the stars through the viewport. "So what do we do?" "Keep running until they find you?" Teresa's eyes narrowed. "No, we find the one pulling the strings, the silver-skinned one. He wanted this war. If we cut him out, maybe the galaxy has a chance." Selene frowned. "And where do we find him?" Reese turned toward her. "We don't. He'll find us. He always does." The days that followed were tense. The Resolute drifted between dead worlds and quiet moons, always one step ahead of patrols. The crew slept in shifts, their dreams heavy with dread. One night, as silence filled the ship, a signal broke through. A voice, smooth and cold, echoed through the coms. "You cannot hide forever. Everyone froze. It's him. The silver-skinned alien's voice continued. You gave the galaxy my truth. You played your part well, but now you belong to me. Come to the dead world of Avanar. There your story ends. The signal cut out, leaving only static. Harris swallowed hard. It's a trap. Reese's jaw tightened. Of course it is. That's why we go. Juno slammed her hand on the table. You're insane. He wants us there so he can finish us. Reese's voice was calm, but his eyes burned. And if we run, he wins anyway. Every step we take, every ally we make, he's already ahead of us. The only way to end this is to face him. Silence fell. Then Maya spoke, her voice low but certain. I'm with him. If we don't stop this now, Earth will never be safe. Selene looked at each of them. Fear was in her eyes, but also resolve. Then Avanar it is. The world of Avanar was a graveyard. Ruins of cities lay buried under ash and stone. Black towers rose like bones, broken and silent. The sky glowed with a sickly red light. The Resolute landed on a cracked plain. The crew stepped out, weapons ready, their boots crunching on the dead soil. Maya whispered, "This place feels wrong." Selene nodded, like the planet itself is watching us. They moved through the ruins, every sound echoing too loud. Then, from the shadows of a shattered tower, he appeared. The silver-skinned alien stepped into view, his body shimmering in the red light. His eyes glowed faintly, calm and cruel. You came, he said softly. I knew you would. Reese raised his weapon. This ends tonight. The alien smiled. You still do not understand. I am not your enemy. I am your future. Maya shouted. You destroyed worlds. You framed us for crimes we didn't commit. You started this war. The alien tilted his head. I revealed what already existed. Corruption, greed, violence. I did not create them, I merely guided them. The galaxy was always waiting to burn. Selene's voice shook. Why? Why cause all this suffering? His glowing eyes fixed on her. Because from fire comes order, and I will shape that order. 1,000 worlds under one rule. Juno spat on the ground. Not if we kill you first. The alien laughed, soft and chilling. Kill me? You cannot kill what is already in motion. Then the ground shook. From the ruins, machines rose tall, black war drones with glowing eyes. Dozens of them. Their weapons hummed to life. Maya gasped. He brought an army. Reese's voice was steel. Then we fight. The ruins erupted in chaos. Blasts lit the dark as drones swarmed, their weapons cutting through stone. The humans fought fiercely, ducking behind broken walls, firing back. With everything they had. Juno yelled, There's too many. Selene dragged Harris out of the line of fire, patching a wound on his arm as sparks rained down. Hold on, just hold on. Maya fired until her weapon overheated, then grabbed a fallen drone's blade. Swinging it desperately, Reese moved like a force of nature, cutting through drones, his voice carrying above the noise. Focus on the alien, he's the key. But the silver-skinned figure stood untouched, watching calmly as the fight raged. You struggle like insects in a storm, he said. Brave but meaningless. Harris, bloodied but determined, clutched the portable recorder still strapped to his chest. Then let's make it mean something. He ran toward the alien, ignoring Maya's scream. Harris, no! The alien turned, amused. What do you think you can do? Harris slammed the recorder onto the ground, activating its last failsafe. A pulse of energy burst out, frying half the drones instantly. The alien staggered, his shimmer flickering. Reese seized the moment. He charged, slamming into the alien. With all his strength. They crashed against the ruins, locked in brutal combat. The alien's strength was unnatural, his hands glowing as they struck. But Reese fought with fury, every blow fueled by the lives already lost. Maya and Juno joined him, firing at the alien, forcing him back. Selene dragged Harris to cover, tears streaming as she tried to stop the bleeding. The alien snarled, his calm broken at last. "You think you can kill me? I am eternal." Reese's voice was a growl. "Not tonight." He drove the alien back onto a jagged spike of stone. The blade pierced the silver body, light erupting in a violent burst. The alien screamed, a sound that shook the ruins. Before his form shattered into shards of glowing dust, the silence that followed was deafening. The remaining drones collapsed. Lifeless, the red sky flickered as if the planet itself sighed. Maya dropped her weapon, shaking. "Is it over?" Reese stood over the pile of fading dust, breathing hard. "For now," Selene's cry cut through the quiet. "Harris, stay with me." The crew rushed to him. His eyes were half closed, his breath shallow, but he managed a weak smile. "Did we win?" he whispered. Maya squeezed his hand. "Yes, we won." His eyes closed, but his chest still rose and fell. "Alive, barely." Reese looked at the ruins, his face carved from stone. "The war isn't over. The galaxy will still fight. But at least now, it won't be under his hand." Juno leaned against a broken wall, wiping blood from her face. "So what now?" Reese turned back to the Resolute, its silhouette waiting in the distance. "Now," he said, "we survived the fire we started." Far above, unseen by human eyes, a faint shimmer of silver drifted into the stars. The alien's voice, faint but certain, whispered into the void, "You cannot kill the future." The galaxy was a storm of war. Fleets clashed above burning worlds, cities fell to riots, and alliances shattered overnight. Every broadcast carried chaos, ships exploding in orbit, colonies rising in rebellion, leaders shouting for blood. The truth the crew had revealed had torn everything apart, but aboard the Resolute, the crew had no time to celebrate survival. Harris lay unconscious in the medbay, his body weak from the battle on Avanar. Maya sat at his side, gripping his hand, whispering for him to wake. Outside the medbay, voices clashed. Juno slammed her fist against the wall. "We should leave this galaxy behind. Find some quiet system and vanish. Let them tear each other apart without us." Selene shook her head. "You think war won't follow us? Every border will close. Every patrol will hunt strangers. There is no safe place anymore." Reese stood at the center, his voice calm but heavy. "We don't run. Not yet. The alien may be gone, but his shadow is everywhere. Someone is using his war to rise to power." Maya entered, her voice sharp. "You mean the governors? The generals? All of them are fighting to wear his crown." Selene's eyes darkened. "And one of them already knows where we are." The others froze. Juno's hand went to her weapon. "What did you say?" Selene lowered her voice. "I intercepted a coded message. A bounty was placed on us. High enough to buy a fleet. That means someone powerful wants us dead." Reese's jaw clenched. "Then we find out who and why." The next day, the Resolute docked at a neutral station, drifting between war zones. It was a hollow sphere, packed with markets, smugglers, and spies. People whispered in corners, selling news like weapons. The crew moved cautiously, cloaks over their heads, eyes scanning the crowd. Juno muttered, "This place stinks of betrayal." Reese replied, "That's why it's useful. Everyone here knows something." They split up, each searching for whispers of the bounty. Maya wandered into a dim tavern where off-worlders sat in silence. She slid into a booth beside a scarred pilot, his breath heavy with drink. "You heard about a bounty?" she asked quietly. The man smirked. "Everyone has big money for your heads. Posted by someone who calls himself the Voice of Order." Maya frowned. "The Voice of Order? Who is he?" The man shrugged. "Nobody knows, but he speaks through stolen broadcasts. Promises peace through strength. Promises to end the war by crushing it. Her heart sank. Sounds just like the alien. The man's smirk faded. Maybe it is. Meanwhile, Juno cornered a merchant selling stolen weapons. She pressed a blade to his throat. Talk, who placed the bounty? The merchant trembled. I don't know his name. But I know this. He's building a fleet bigger than any single world has ever owned. He's gathering deserters, mercenaries. Anyone who wants to survive the fire. Juno's eyes narrowed. And where? The man gulped. The Black Rift, dead space, no trade routes. That's where his ships vanish. That's where they come out stronger. Juno left him alive, but barely. Back on the Resolute, the crew gathered their findings. Maya's voice shook. This voice of order, it sounds like him, like the Silver One. Selene shook her head. But we saw him die. Rhys's eyes were grim, or we saw what he wanted us to see. Juno slammed her fist on the table. Doesn't matter. If he's alive, we finish him. If it's someone else, we kill them too. Either way, the bounty ends. But before they could plan further, alarms blared. The station shuddered. The view outside filled with ships, dozens of them bearing no single flag, only the mark of the bounty. A black circle with a single silver line through it. Maya gasped. They found us. The battle was sudden and brutal. Raiders stormed the docks, weapons blazing. Explosions ripped through the marketplace, scattering crowds. The Resolute powered up, but enemy ships closed fast, blocking escape. Rhys barked orders. Selene, shields, Juno, weapons, Maya, get Hera safe. The ship shook as blasts hammered it. Selene shouted, shields failing. Juno fired back, lighting the void with plasma. I can't hold them all. Then, from the chaos, a transmission cut through. A voice, cold and smooth, filled the bridge. You cannot run forever. Everyone froze. Maya whispered, no. It's him. The silver-skinned alien's voice laughed softly. Did you think a blade could end me? I am beyond death. I am the voice of order. And soon I will be the galaxy. Rhys growled, show yourself, coward. The voice replied, calm and cruel. In time. For now, I will take what you love most. The screen flickered, showing a squad of raiders storming the medbay. Harris lay helpless as they dragged him from his bed. Maya screamed, no, the alien's voice purred. If you want him back, come to the Black Rift. Alone. The transmission ended. The raiders vanished into the swarm, carrying Harris away. The crew sat in stunned silence, the weight of loss heavy. Maya shook, tears streaming down her face. We can't leave him. We can't. Rhys placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice steady. We won't. They want us at the rift? Then that's where we go. Selene's face was pale. But it's a trap. Rhys's eyes burned. Then we walk into it with fire. The journey to the Black Rift was long and silent. The rift was a void in space, a dark wound where stars vanished. Stories said ships that entered never returned. The Resolute crept into the darkness, scanners blind. Engines whisper quiet. Juno muttered, feels like flying into a grave. Selene whispered, it is. At last they saw it. A fleet of black ships, thousands strong, circling a colossal structure built from wreckage. And at its heart, a throne of metal and shadow. On the throne sat the silver-skinned alien, alive, whole, smiling. Harris knelt in chains beside him, weak but breathing. The alien's voice boomed across the comms. Welcome, my insects, you brought the galaxy fire. Now you will kneel in its ashes. Rhys's jaw tightened. Not while we still breathe. The battle began. The Resolute darted through enemy fire, weaving between ships. Juno blasted hulls apart. Selene pushed the engines to breaking. Maya fought through tears, guiding weapons to protect Harris. But the alien's power was everywhere. His fleet moved as one, precise and merciless. Slowly, the Resolute was pushed closer to the throne. The alien laughed. "Do you see? You cannot win. You never could." Reese stood tall, eyes locked on the enemy. "Then we'll make sure you don't either." He turned to Maya. "You trust me?" She nodded even through her fear. "With my life." Reese's plan was simple, desperate, and final. Fly the Resolute into the throne, detonate its core, and take the alien down with them. Juno's eyes widened. "That's suicide." Reese's voice was steel. "It's war." The ship roared forward, engines screaming, every weapon blazing. The alien rose from his throne, fury twisting his perfect face. "No!" he shouted, his voice echoing across the void. "You will serve me." But the Resolute did not stop. At the last moment, Maya broke into the comms, her voice carrying across the battlefield. "To every ship listening, this is our stand. The alien is alive. He's the voice of order. If you want freedom, fight with us." For a heartbeat, silence. Then one by one, ships broke formation. Raiders turned on raiders. Deserters turned their guns on the throne. The fleet tore itself apart. The Resolute smashed into the base of the throne. Light erupted, fire tearing. Across the black rift, the alien screamed as his fleet burned, his throne collapsing into the void. When the fire cleared, the Resolute floated half-destroyed, but alive. Harris was pulled aboard from a broken escape pod, weak but smiling. Reese stood on the shattered bridge, staring into the rift. Selene asked, her voice soft, "Is it over?" Reese did not answer, for in the rift's darkness, a faint silver shimmer still glowed, and the war was far from done. The council chamber was silent. Thousands of eyes, both human and alien, fixed on the small group standing in the center. The human team looked exhausted, uniforms torn, faces marked with burns and cuts from battles fought in the shadows. Yet they stood tall. The evidence was clutched in their hands, glowing on the data crystal that could decide the fate of Earth. General Harris's voice was calm, but every word carried iron. "This is proof. Our ambassador was murdered not by humans, but by those who wanted Earth destroyed. Look at the records. See the truth with your own eyes." Gasps echoed through the chamber as the hologram activated. The image flickered, showing the ambassador's final meeting. He looked tired but determined. His voice filled the room. "If anyone sees this, know I uncovered their plan. Illegal weapons. Secret deals. They want to use my death to frame Earth. They want war." The recording cut off with the sound of a blade striking. The shadow of the killer was clear, not human. The shape, the markings, the weapon, it all belonged to a powerful alien faction that had pushed hardest for Earth's destruction. The chamber exploded with noise. "They lied," shouted one council member. "They tried to use us," cried another. "Impossible. This evidence must be false." A voice snarled from the rival faction's seats. General Harris slammed his fist on the podium. "Enough. You know it is real. Your own scanners confirm it. This was no trick. You let yourselves be fooled because you already feared us. But fear is not truth." The rival alien leader rose, his eyes burning with rage. His scaled hands trembled. As he pointed at the humans, "They twist everything. Humanity has always been dangerous. Even if we killed the ambassador, Earth should still be destroyed. You are a violent species. You fight, you kill. You do not belong in this council." The room grew tense. The final vote was moments away. Dr. Lin, the scientist of the team, stepped forward. Her voice was quiet but cut through the noise like a blade. "Yes, we fight, we resist. We do not surrender, even when the universe tells us we are weak. That is who we are. You call it danger, I call it survival. And maybe that is why you fear us." The alien leader hissed, but the chamber stirred with whispers. Some council members looked uncertain now. Agent Malik, leaning heavily on his injured leg, added coldly, "If Earth is erased today, you set a rule. You show every species that truth doesn't matter, that the Council can be turned into a weapon of lies. Ask yourselves who will be next after us. Who will they frame tomorrow?" The weight of his words sank in. One by one, members began to murmur. Fear spread, but not toward Earth anymore. It spread toward the rival faction that had orchestrated the murder. The High Chancellor rose, her long cloak flowing like shadow. Her voice carried power. "The time has come. We will vote. The charge of destruction against Earth is withdrawn. Instead, judgment shall fall on those who conspired." The rival factions shouted in fury, but their voices were drowned by the sound of the chamber seals locking. Guards marched in, surrounding them. The alien leader who had screamed for Earth's end now found himself shackled before the very council he had hoped to control. General Harris exhaled, a weight lifting from his chest. He turned to his team. For a moment, none of them spoke. The silence was not of fear anymore, but of relief. Finally, Malik chuckled bitterly. "All that for one ambassador," Dr. Lin shook her head. "No, for billions of lives." The council chamber emptied slowly. The humans walked out together, bruised, battered, but victorious. Outside, the great city of the capital planet shone under twin suns. The streets were still filled with suspicious stares, but now there was something new behind those eyes. Not only fear, respect. As they reached their ship, the Resolute, a small figure approached. It was a young alien, not part of the council, not powerful, just a citizen. He bowed slightly, his voice trembling. You saved your world. And maybe you saved ours too. I did not think humans could do this. I was wrong." General Harris gave him a firm nod. "Never mistake us again." The team boarded the ship. Engines rumbled, ready for departure. Through the window, Harris looked back at the alien capital. One last time. Malik limped to his side. "You think this changes anything? You think they'll stop fearing us?" Harris's gaze was hard. "No, they'll fear us more. But now they'll also know the truth. We don't fight for power. We fight because we must. That makes us dangerous, yes, but it also makes us impossible to break." The Resolute lifted off, fire streaking across the sky as it carried its crew away. High above, watching from the shadows of a council tower, another alien whispered to his companion, "Humans, they never stop fighting." The reply came like a warning, soft but sharp. "And that is why they will change everything." The stars stretched ahead, endless and unknown. Humanity had survived the first true test. But in the silence of space, the team knew one thing with absolute certainty. This was only the beginning.